just fix it. Is it clear?
Yeah, very clear.
Thank you. Okay. As I have been sharing with all of you, that my job is I'm the head of operations. So it is very important for our company to be well guided in as far as business frameworks are concerned. And this is this has been our practice. I being the head of the organization, it is very important also for me to be well acquainted with business frameworks. But prior to anything, prior to strategies, we have all these business frameworks rolled into one slide. First, it is really very important for a company to all. This is based from the book Built to Last. At Anu, if you're just familiar with the book Built to Last by Collins and Porras. What about you, Mustafa? Are you familiar
No,
with
No,
that
no,
book?
no, I'm
no.
not aware of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Built
I've
to
heard about
Last
this. Built to last. Yes.
Built to Last. Okay, there are three books that are sought after, especially in the Philippines: The Good to Great, How the Mighty Fall, and Built to Last. They have the same authors. Okay, and we have this framework in as far as vision statement, mission, and goals. As these equally important things are the ones really the foundation of whatever strategies that the company would formulate. This is um, in relation with the discussion that we had in the past, that we were talking about strategy. So we were supposed to talk about vision, but for whatever reasons, why we were not able. But based on that book, Built to Last, everything emanates from the vision of the company. Okay, so we have this framework, vision, and after the vision, mission goes, we have to review external environment. Guys, if I may ask all of you, like for example, Atanu, which business framework in terms of macroeconomic environments that you are fascinated with?
Could you please repeat once again? Which business framework?
Framework on macroeconomic environments.
Could you please
Because the
expand
last because the last time we were talking, how do you measure as to whether or not a strategy is good or bad? And the answer to that, as emphasized by our professor, if a strategy adapts to change in an environment, and if a strategy gives you advantage over your customer, your competitors, and your supplier, that strategy must be good. Okay,
Yeah.
based on the macroeconomic environments framework, spearheaded by Michael Porter's, the PESTEL, right? That is part of the examination as to whether or not your strategy is correct. So you have to examine your external environment, and the framework there is PESTEL. And the internal environment, after examining your external environment, macroeconomic environments, we have to look into political aspect, we have to look into economical aspect, social, technological, environmental, and legal. That is the framework that Michael Porter has been using. And internal environment also, the Porter's five forces. Of course, it was mentioned in the strategic formulation that it is really very important for the company or an organization to take on examining the Porter's five forces prior to the creation of your strategies. So more or less, this one is a presentation of all the frameworks up until. Are you guys familiar with value chain framework?
What
value
is
chain? No,
value
but
chain?
in fact, if I can go back to your Michael Porter's framework, I think the last what I heard, I mean, not recently because I moved to a different role altogether, is eight P's, and which also includes planet
Yeah,
is one of them, right?
yeah,
The
yeah,
last
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Uh,
ERRC grid is also there, right?
what's
I'm
that?
not sure.
Okay. So these are the frameworks that we will be discussing in relation to formulating an strategic execution. Before we formulate strategy, because I would like to believe when I reviewed also the good and bad strategy lecture by the professor, there were several questions also that were being raised there. How would you be able to make sure that your strategy is effective without seeing before the execution, without seeing the actual result? You are already confident that it really is the right strategy for your company. And the answer to that, towards the end of the lecture, he said that if a strategy gives you advantage over your customers, your competitors, and your supplier, that must be a good strategy, in spite of the fact that you haven't seen for yourself the result yet, right?
Yeah.
So
Correct.
examining the external environment, as I mentioned, as this is also really very important in the strategic formulation process. Examining the external environment, and after you examine the external environment, you look into your internal environment and you do SWOT analysis for you to be able. He mentioned VOCA, right? The volatility, uncertainty, complex, and ambiguity. That is same as SWOT analysis also. So after that, we have to formulate business strategies, corporate strategies, and functional strategies. These are the three levels of strategies. I would like to believe that all of you, as we are all senior managers coming from our respective companies, understand very well the differences of these strategies, right? And we have this value chain, this operation strategy. Value chain is a framework that collects and analyzes the activities of the company, internal activities of the company. And later also I'll show you how does value chain look like. Okay, if I may continue. Are you guys familiar with McKinsey 7Ss?
McKinsey? I'm sorry.
McKinsey 7Ss framework.
Yeah, no, I'm not familiar.
No.
No. Because it is really very important also for us to understand how will you make sure that in spite of the fact that you have formulated a very good strategy, taking into consideration the external and internal environments, you have the right organization to execute your strategies. You have the correct manpower to execute, or else if the competence level of your people is not aligned with the magnitude of your strategy, it is pointless, because at the end of the day, it is not the thinking that will bring in the numbers. It is the execution of your people down the line.
True.
And McKinsey 7Ss is the framework that you use for you to be able to make sure that the execution of your strategy is seamless, or else it is futile. There
Maybe,
is a
dude, can
saying
I
that
request
goes,
you, dude, can I request one thing here then? If
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting what you were saying. So do you have access to McKinsey 7S strategy?
yeah, I have.
Can you share with me if it is possible?
Yes, I'll share
Thank
with
you.
you.
Thank you. Looks
Okay.
very interesting then. Yeah.
Value chain is like this. As I mentioned, value chain is defined as mm, a collection of activities of the company, internal activities of the company. And when you talk about value chain, there are two equally important activities that the company is performing. What are these activities? Primary activities. We have this, the inbound logistics operations, outbound marketing and service. We have these secondary activities also, procurement, technology, human resource, firm infrastructure, and even accounting and finance is part of secondary activities. Why is it considered as secondary activities? Because they are not frontliners. Those frontliners are the ones performing the primary activities. They are on the field. Those who stay in the head office, they are performing the secondary activities of the company. But if there are no synergies into equally important compartments of an organization, the primary activities and the secondary activities, the strategic execution is pointless. There is this disconnect between the two equally important groups, because in spite of the fact that accounting, IT, the technological capability of the company is not on field, but that supports the performance of the activities of the people in the front line. So this business framework is really very important for you to be able to make sure that you have gained a competitive advantage over your competitor, because first, you are technologically advanced. Second, you would be able to analyze your numbers correctly by virtue of the fact that your accounting and finance would be able to generate financial report as up for you to be able to make a decision faster than your competitors, so that your people in the frontliners would be able to execute ahead of your competition. So when our professor was mentioning that, yes, a strategy is good if you gain advantage of your competitor, how would you be able to gain advantage versus your competitor if you are not faster in terms of making decision, you are not faster in reaching to your customers, you are not faster in serving your customers changing needs and expectations, because of the fact that your activities in your organization are not aligned. So value chain is really very important. And when you mentioned also, Atanu, that what is the 7Ss framework of McKinsey? Well, this pandemic is really very challenging for those executives to recalibrate the organization, as this pandemic has changed the landscape of your industry, really, right? And if you will not be able to align also the rationale of this framework, the McKinsey 7Ss framework, is to align all the S's in the organization, essential S's of the organization. What are these? The structure. Do we maintain the same structure in spite of the fact that we have to reduce 70% of our manpower? It can't be. We have to change the structure. Do we maintain the system prior to the pandemic? Well, in our case, as I mentioned, we changed the system of collecting from our customers, as we are now adopting a new platform, which is online. But what do we do with our collectors, the account executives that used to collect from our customers, going to the houses of our customers? Will they be severed from working with our company? No, we have to keep them, because we want to we want them to do something else. What is this? To tap new channel. What is the strategy of the company? Do we continue to expand? The last time I was talking to you, all of you, what are the dimensions of strategy? Right? I told you that there are 11 dimensions of strategy. Say, for example, we want to be technologically advanced. So the dimensions is technology. We have to invest massively in technology. We want to expand, taking into consideration that we have 7,000 islands in the Philippines. But can we expand by putting up a branch there? No, we could no longer do that, because we have to expand new channel. We will sell online. We will sell our products and service online. It was mentioned also from our last lecture on strategy. You have to compete digitally. It is no longer product based. It is going to be digital based. You have to transform digitally. You have to digitalize the value offering of your company. So this framework is the one that really guides the executive to realign all the S's, the structure, the strategy, the system, the style of doing business. That is why if the company is really agile, it is really very important for the company to immediately adapt to this change of pandemic. Staff is, do you have the right employees in terms of mantra, in terms of mindset? The last time we were talking changing of paradigm. Can we just change the paradigm of our employees? If we are not guided with the framework, it would be very difficult for the executive to spearhead the change of the mantra or the paradigm of your employees and the skills. Do we have the right skills? And will people still continue to be engaged with your company? The center there is the shared values. I just don't know if you are having this vision, mission, core values of the
Of course.
company.
Yeah, yeah, of
Because
course.
um, yeah, and the vision really is the compelling reason why the company, in spite of the pandemic, continues to strive to live up to its vision, and for you to be able to make sure that everyone is still engaged in the middle of all these discombobulations. It is really very important for the executive to anchor everybody's goals and expectations in the shared values of the company, because this represent the company and the people who built this company in the first place. So in my case, I told you that I have 7,000 employees in the entire Philippines. It was really very difficult, challenging for us to align all our employees that they are still engaged with our company. But if you are guided with a framework, and this framework, 7SS framework, is really the framework perfect for you to be able to make sure that in spite of the fact that you are facing a very tough times, your company will still be able to deliver what the company intends to achieve, because your people are going for extra mile to be with their company.
True.
This is amazing. I mean, this framework is very simple, very powerful. I mean, I've been trying to do something of this for the last few months, and now you have presented something very simple for me.
Great.
And this kind,
Strategy.
and
Thank you very much, Atanu. Sorry.
no, I'm saying only thing is saying now you are saying as an organization, everybody has to evolve. So why not Cambridge also? I'm putting the same thought here. That why not Cambridge also?
We
So,
will
yeah.
send the dude's presentation to Cambridge to review it.
Excellent. It was really.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you very much. But um, it is incumbent in my job to be somebody also that is really updated, and that is definitely the reason, one of the reasons why I signed up for this, because when I checked on the platform, when I checked also on the curriculum, I was so impressed also, especially on the personal mentoring, and especially learning also from my peers, right? So the personal mentoring, because in spite of the fact that I finished all the formal MBA classes in my country, I want to experience it in Cambridge as well, right? For us to be able to be oriented or acquainted with frameworks also. But I would like to continue if you have questions.
Sure, sure. Please proceed.
There are explanations of this. Well, 7 elements. They have the hard SS, the strategy, structure. They are considered as hard SS. Why? Because these SS are influenced by the top management. But what are the most important SS, as mentioned by McKinsey in this framework, are the soft SS, because these are the soft skills. Mustafa, are you happy
With what?
with the way things are done in Cambridge? You are not happy, right?
Of course
You are
not.
not satisfied. We are not satisfied. Can Cambridge management impose that on us that we should be happy? Of course not, right? So the mantra, the motivational level of people can you cannot just impose that on your people. It is relative. It is based on the personal experience of the people. If you have 7,000 employees in your company, if 90% of your people are not happy, they will simply steal from you,
True.
right? So you have this framework is the one that really makes everyone in your company, majority in your company, to be more engaged. This teaches us how will you be able to make sure that in spite of the fact that you have 100,000 employees in the entire world, they are still engaged. They speak the same language because of the fact that they are working under one company. This is the framework that we should be embracing.
True.
Amazing. To manage 7,000 employees, it is something way beyond our imagination. Because I have about 400 employees. Here itself, we feel so, difficult sometimes. And you have 7,000. It's an amazing job, dude.
What
It is
actually
difficult.
what dude is saying, just have mantra, just have a framework. You will not have a problem that you have 7,000 or 70,000. But
Yes,
if you
true.
don't, if you
Yes.
don't have that framework, so you will have a problem even with seven.
Very true.
Very true.
As
Exactly.
they
That,
say, is the exactly, Mustafa. I think maybe the simplified version what you have said is, you just create the process. Automatically, things would be, you can manage one or you can manage a million also. But end of the day, the system foundation needs to be right. The framework needs to be right. Very simple
Agree.
word, very powerful. Thank you, dudes. It's a great presentation.
Okay.
great.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. How will you make sure that your strategy will be executed in accordance to how you envision it to be? This is also another framework for you to be able to make sure that everyone in your company speaks the same language. If you have this big initiative for your company, everybody is willing to go for that extra mile just for you to be able to make sure that as one company you would be able to get what your company envisions to achieve. You have to make sure that this strategy is everybody's job, from the lowest of the low in your company to the highest of the high.
Mhm. Great.
So we have here, we have this, we have to align your incentive compensation, align personal objectives. You have to make sure that everybody is aware for your strategic direction. And you have this evaluation, bottom-up process to internalize and execute strategy, top-down and all that. Mustafa, the last time also I was talking about 8-stage process in leading change. Because usually, if you are having this big initiative, especially if your business strategy is to gain market share by 10%, you have to rally amongst your people that everybody's mindset is to go for that necessary 10% market share increase. Wherever your company is situated in the world, you have to get the 10% at least.
True.
Okay, so this is the framework. So the message is very clear for you to be able to make sure that everything is calculated. Just use the framework for you to be well guided as an executive. How will you make sure that, what are the barriers? Well, I have a lot of good friends from India, and the one really that spearheaded this concept is one of the most sought after in India, one of the most sought after economies in India. Okay, so and this is adopted by Harvard also business school. There are 4 barriers. What are these? Unclear vision and strategy. Vision of the company. Well, it is a bit um, um, sophisticated when you talk about vision and strategy. But if you would read the Build to Last book that I mentioned, that is really a very fascinating book also, Build to Last, that you build your company for it to last, that even a pandemic can make your company stumble and fall. That is a very good book. Lack of organizational alignment. I mentioned that while the direction of the organization is to make sure that your frontliners are executing the strategy, but if it is not supported by your IT, by your finance, by your human resource, it would be pointless. So lack of organizational alignment, disjointed process, planning and process. So if there are conflicting directions coming from the middle management, especially if operations is embarking on something big, but finance would oppose, it will not be supported in terms of money, in terms of budget, it would be pointless. And inability to test and adapt performance. This is also very, what are the measures in making sure that your strategy is tested? There is also a framework for you to be able to test your strategy. There has to be external consistency. I mentioned macroeconomic environments. If your government will stay closed, we have to shut down. No matter how big your company is, you have to abide by the ruling of the government, right? You have to stop. Internal consistency. Are your people convinced? I think in one of our lectures, there was this, what if the president president of your company, in spite of the fact that you are really very smart and you are able to figure out the very good strategy for your company, but your president will not execute because your president doesn't like you or doesn't like the idea. It will not, it is not internally consistent, so it is pointless, right? Dynamic consistency, it is the company doing today what it requires to succeed in the future. Dynamic consistency, will it be able to adapt to the changes consistently moving forward? So these are the frameworks that I would like to share with all of you guys, unless otherwise you have questions.
Oh, what-
So thank you, Dude, for the presentation. So a couple of questions because
Yeah.
I was also referring to few of the books on this strategic thinking versus strategic planning. So in fact,
Okay.
referring to few books like Ride of a Lifetime, or maybe Elephant Can't Dance, Who Says Elephant Can't Dance, or Only the Paranoid Survives. So the strategic thinking is different from strategic planning, right? Now, if you're
Yes.
talking about that, first thing is what the framework which you showed was on the the external analysis and the internal analysis, right? So going by the external
Yes.
analysis,
Yes.
what I had understood and noted down while going through all these books was that is there are four models which we have to do for the external analysis in the series of thing. One is the pestle analysis, followed by the seven forces,
Yes. Pestle.
which is correct, right?
Yes.
Which is
No, five forces.
yeah. Now it is seven forces,
Porters,
which
five
is
forces. Yes,
and
seven forces. Yes.
now it is now seven forces. Now it is which is interfirm rivalry, new entrant, substitute, complementers, bargaining power, buyers, and the regulations. These are the seven forces, Porter seven forces. And the third was followed by the strategic canvas, which is not only from the competitor point of view, but also from a customer point of view. And the fourth is the
Yes.
scenario planning, which is more on identifying the driving forces and identifying the critical resources. So by doing all this, we would be in a position to complete the external analysis, of course,
Very
through
well
other
said.
years. Correct.
Very well
So,
said. Yes.
and if I have to move on to the internal analysis, I would be focusing on the competitive positioning, which is on the brand, quality, innovation, design, and the service, followed by the SWOT analysis, which is strength and weakness are our internal and opportunities and threats are external. We do
Yes.
that. And the third is a
Yeah.
hedgehog or maybe the core competence, followed by the activity map for the internal analysis. Right?
Very well said.
So
That is the correct process of doing strategic planning and strategic formulation. That is the correct.
true.
Yeah,
Because
that
I
is the
was under a
correct procedure.
confusion that what exactly is the difference between a strategic thinking and strategic planning? Is it same? I got an answer. It is totally different. Actually, thinking is about creating a path, a broader and long term, considering company, customer, competitors, and we need to pause our assumptions and keep our eyes open and smart path to success. Whereas my strategic planning will focus on setting up a direction, a path, and the resources for execution. So that's how
Yeah. Very good. Strategic
I'm able to
thinking
link
is
that.
more. Strategic thinking is really more of how would you be able to envision the future.
True.
You
Yeah.
envision. Yeah,
Yeah.
you really have to envision the future. 50 years from now, how do you want your company to be?
Yeah.
Strategic planning, because of the fact that you have this vision long term, you want to be global leader, you want to be the best company in the world in your industry. Strategic planning is done every 3 years for you to be able to be within the when you were doing the PESTEL, the macroeconomic environment, you are
Yes.
still on track with the changes of your macroeconomic environments.
So
Yeah,
these are
very
the
good.
4 books which we can be referred: Good to Great, as you mentioned already, and
Good to
Playing to,
great, built to last, how the
yeah,
mighty fall,
Playing to Win, Art of War, Blue Ocean
art of
Strategy.
war. Yeah, very good. Yeah, I've read the rules of strategy also because I'm really very fascinated about strategy. Yeah, to the point that I would read. I really love reading books with regard to strategy because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, in spite of the fact that we might be the best financial analyst, but if you will not be able to marry your competence with
Yes.
formulating correct strategies, it would be pointless. You have this competitive advantage in such by virtue of the fact that you are really very keen on financial. But
Yes.
unfortunately, financial is only the result of your strategy. But if you cannot move forward with upgrading uh, or launching new strategy that will outperform your best performance, you are not capitalizing your competitive advantage.
Correct. So it is in line with whatever you have presented, and again, I thought it's a very refreshing thing for me. Thanks, dude. That of course, the outcome of strategy, what
Thank
we're
you.
talking is about winning the war without fighting a war, actually, in pursuit of a sustainable competitive advantage, right?
Thank you.
Making trade-offs, creating a blue oceans. And
Yeah,
important,
I agree.
matching capabilities to the opportunities is what the outcome of
Well,
these things.
I said that the framework there is value chain because if you value chain and McKinsey 7Ss, because if you will not be able to really make sure that your internal activities are superior than your competitors, how will you be able to say that you are better your competitors? And for you to be able to be better your competitors, you have to have the competence. You are the finest in your industry. So you have to do a lot of mentoring, coaching, like what Atanu taught us the last time. You have to have you have to be the best coach for you to bring out the best in your people.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, dude. So
Thank
from
you,
side.
dude. Thank you, dude. And Suresh, I was just trying to reach out to you that one presentation is due on you from us. That is about uh, what is this business, what you are doing about e-commerce. So,
E-commerce.
yeah. So we wanted you to present us the e-commerce, and you remember last
Yeah.
time we discussed. So I want you, please,
That's
if you
very
can spare
interesting
some
also.
time.
Yeah. So in fact, let me also share that currently we are on this the big billion day sales of Flipkart, the same which the Amazon is going. This is a 5 days sale event, and it's a massive where 80% of the entire annual operating plan business would be done in these 4 to 5 days. Now the event has closed, the delivery has started. The next 10 days, actually, I'm working for both day shift as well as night shift in my warehouses to avoid few issues or maybe to resolve the issues and supporting the operations team. Once that is done, I'll definitely be free. Today I'm in night shift, so I thought that while I'm on the way, I can also have a word with you and also discuss few things. So that's how I joined in today.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
will definitely do that.
Yeah. So I would be in touch with you. So to find a way, it took me almost 2 months or maybe about 2 months to get time from Atanu for coaching. So, so I will definitely in touch with you.
Mustafa, you are a naturally born good coach. And with the presentation of Atanu, everybody has leveled up the competence of being the best coach.
And
Okay.
still everybody is seeking for the good coach only, right?
Yeah.
Because we want to be coach as well. So in
Uh,
one hand we are a good coach, and the other hand we are still a student and
Yeah,
learning.
that's true.
And
So we already passed almost 1 hour and 50 minutes. So I think, uh, shall we proceed with the Tanu coaching session, or we
or
should
maybe
postpone
we
it?
can move it because I
Next
have a
time.
couple of things, and tomorrow tomorrow is
Same.
a holiday, so I need to connect many things to complete. So probably
Yeah.
next time, whenever we are having,
Yeah,
Because
we
yeah,
can.
you got stretched a bit.
yeah. This is what I'm saying.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mustafa,
And you
thank
guys
you.
will see, as you have seen also, I was discussing, I was having some my snacks also because I was feeling hungry because I have to really extend for a quite longer time now.
Yeah,
So on the,
Atanu, I love Dubai.
yeah,
Dubai is definitely one of my favorite destinations. Yes.
and come over now, it's free also. You can come now. So at least Dubai is allowing people to
Yeah.
travel.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm planning also.
Okay, guys. We will
Okay.
So
continue.
whenever you
In,
are around, let
yeah,
us know. But we can definitely connect, and we
yeah.
have a good sizable number here.
Good.
Very true. Yes, we have to
Okay.
catch up.
Yes.
If Cambridge is not
Okay.
being that opportunity, we will create our opportunities.
Yeah,
As I said, that Dubai is still
Nice
ready to
seeing
host
you.
all of you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nice
guys.
seeing all of you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye
Bye
bye.
Mustafa,
bye.
thank you.
Happy
Bye
weekend.
bye.
Happy
Bye
weekend.
bye.
Let
Happy
us connect
weekend.
next time.
Bye.
Bye bye.